Boy, am I tired of losing to the Green Bay Packers. Yo, what's up, world? APW Sports signing in for another Chicago Bears reaction, and I hate that we have to do this game after another Bears loss to the Green Bay Packers, 24-14 at home. When are we ever going to beat Aaron Rodgers? When are we ever going to beat the Green Bay Packers? But I have so much to say about this game, so enough of this intro. Let's just dive right into this.
I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and feet. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Now, of course, a lot of people are going to be talking about Justin Fields and this Bears offense, but I'm going to touch on this part on the defense first. The defense for the Bears, I want to say for the most part of this game, did actually a solid job, because I said in my preview video coming into this game, Green Bay is an offense, they are going to get theirs. The way that Matt LaFleur designs this offense, and of course, Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and Davante Adams and those boys with a solid offensive line in Green Bay, even though they've been dealing with a little bit of an injuries. Bakhtiari's been out all year, and Myers got hurt early in the game. This Green Bay offense can put up points no matter what defense they face. And we all look back to week one, they're going to say the Saints did it. That game, I believe, was more of a fluke than anything. Every team is going to have a fluke throughout the course of an NFL season. Just like our game was Cleveland. If you want to be honest, our game where we just looked god-awful and didn't look right was Cleveland. So every team, especially a team that is competitive like Green Bay and a team that has the potential to be competitive like the Bears are going to have a game where you just scratch your head. I wasn't really one that was going to buy into that week one going into the rest of this year for Green Bay. The last couple of weeks for them has been fine offensively, so I wasn't really concerned about it. Green Bay coming into this game has been hot offensively. Aaron Rodgers has been reaching back into that MVP level that he played last year. And with this Bears defense, they were able to get pressure for a good portion of the game. They were able to make some stops when they needed to. But the problem that has been with this Bears defense is tackling. The Bears have to tackle. It was a problem in the preseason of the Bears and tackling. They just didn't tackle very well. When Aaron Rodgers was outside of the pocket, he was getting those unscripted plays when the Bears were getting pressure. He was able to throw the ball accurately, as we always seen, and he was able to make plays when he needed to. Now, Aaron Rodgers did not have the greatest of games. Looking back on it and watching it, Aaron Rodgers did not play that great dominant type of game. He made the plays against this Bears defense when Green Bay absolutely needed him. Now, the Bears had some blown coverages. The Bears definitely had some missed tackles. But for the most part, holding the offense like this to 24 points, when you're not able to win the time of possession, when you're not able to consistently sustain offensive drives, that defense is going to break down at some point throughout the contest. Now, they did some good jobs of holding them to a field goal and creating some pressure and forcing Green Bay to punt. But I just believe for this most part, the Bears defense did not play a very bad game. Khalil, Mack, and Robert Quinn were able to do some damage. Akeem Hicks was able to get a sack of his own from Green Bay's line miscommunications. So the Bears were still able to get some pressure on Rodgers, force him out of the pocket. It's just when the play broke down, the Bears corners and DBs didn't necessarily stick to their receivers and scramble drills. And Aaron Rodgers was able to find his guys accurately, as he's been doing his career, in making those unscripted plays that he typically makes. So watching this Bears defense, I cannot blame the Bears defense for this loss. I cannot say that this Bears defense played a bad game, because when you look at things, they didn't. Green Bay is an offense that is very explosive design-wise. Even if you have the best coverage on Davante Adams, Matt LaFleur schemes routes and schemes ways to make sure that Davante Adams gets the football, and Aaron Rodgers is a very intelligent guy, and he sees that and he knows that, and he can get the ball to him. So when you look at this Green Bay offense versus this Bears defense, I will give the Bears defense a solid grade for this game because they did not do that bad of a job, especially against Rodgers. We've seen games where this Bears defense will let up 35, 40 points. And you held them to 24 points, which is obviously somewhat of a W, especially the history and the way things have been going in this Bears-Packers rivalry. To hold them to 24 points and to put your offense in better positions to still give them a chance to make plays, give your offense a chance to make drives, give your offense in better positions because you were able to, for the most part, contain that offense. This Bears defense played overall, they were actually solid when you really look at things. Now, of course, Aaron Rodgers able to scramble and actually get the dagger touchdown, and Green Bay did move the ball consistently, which I kind of seen coming because you can't stop them. You can slow them down, and the Bears slowed them down for the most part in this game. It's just when crucial plays needed to be made by this Bears defense, they didn't make them. They didn't make the necessary tackles. They didn't get on the right coverage. They didn't stick to their wide receivers. They did get pressure, but Aaron Rodgers has that ability to escape and sense that pressure and get outside of the pocket. For the most part, the Bears defensively, they did what they can do at that point. I just cannot criticize heavily this Bears defense. When you're watching the game, you can't do it. You just cannot do it. You just can't. And I'm going to just be real honest with you. The Bears defense played solid. They did. The corners had to stick to their receivers. The linebackers had to do a little bit better in coverage. But the Bears overall defensively got pressure. They were able to get some sacks on Rodgers, get some pressures, get some stops in the backfield, some tackles for loss. So the Bears did a solid job defensively, but it's Aaron Rodgers, and he's playing at a good level. So they did what they could. But the meat of this video and the meat of what I really wanted to get into with this reaction is the Bears offensively. Now, of course, Justin Fields did not have the greatest of games. He did a couple of heave throws. The first one, which was a bad offsides call, which should have been called because they called Robert Quinn for that same type of offsides earlier, and they didn't get that call on that play, which is why Justin Fields heaved the ball like that, because he's had, in his mind, he had a free play. Aaron Rodgers is the king of free plays. So we see that with Aaron Rodgers on a week-to-week basis. And when Justin Fields on that particular play, he thought it was a free play. And watching it, I thought it was too. And leave your guys' thought in the comment section. But I'm guessing majority of you thought it was a free play as well. And the call got missed. Of course, on the second heave, that was inexcusable. That was just absolutely inexcusable. For him to throw that heave in the end zone. Luckily, Adrian Amos, number one, didn't have possession, and it looked like his foot was out and the call was staying as an incomplete pass. But that second one was inexcusable. Now, to get more into Justin Fields, of course, he did not have the greatest of games. He did not play very well. He missed some reads. He left the ball a little bit high. He missed some throws. I'm going to have to reiterate this for other Bears fans, and I'm going to have to reiterate this point and drive this point home. Justin Fields is still a rookie quarterback. He is still in development, and this is only his fourth career NFL start. So a game like this is bound to happen at some point of a rookie quarterback's career. It is bound to happen at some point. Overall, I am not overall disgusted and going to necessarily blame this game and this particular outing and the outcome on Justin Fields. Now, we will fully admit he did not play great. We seen that and we know that. But for fans to sit there and say he's trash or he's not ready or they shouldn't have started him or whatever I've been seeing on Twitter and Facebook accounts, he's a rookie. These are growing pains. He can learn from a game like this. He's going to learn from a game like this. We seen how he bounced back from the Cleveland game. I believe he's still going to bounce back from this game. So for the fans that were pointing at Justin Fields for this loss, it's not on all Justin Fields. Now, we all know he could have played better. Now, we all know he didn't have the greatest of games. He didn't look solid at good points of this game. But it's not all on Fields. My problem with this Bears offense, and I've said it on this channel for, I want to say, the last couple of seasons. And I've previously said it in different videos throughout the course of this season. The common denominator of why this Bears offense will not be successful is Matt Nagy. Now, we all know he's not calling the plays anymore. Bill Lazor is calling the plays. So we understand that. But with this Bears offense, we have not scored as an offense more than 14 points in any of our games this year. The Rams game, 14 points. Cincinnati game, 14 points as an offense. We go back to Cleveland. We only had 6 and none from touchdowns. We go back to the Cleveland game, 14 points from the offense. No, I take that back. 1 touchdown from the offense. We go to Detroit, 14 points. We go to last week, only 14 points. This week, only 14 points. There has not been a game this season where the Bears have scored more than 14 points in total as an offense. No more than 2 touchdowns in a game. No more than 2. And coming into this game, the Bears as an offense were ranked dead last. Dead last. Passing offense, dead last. The Bears are dead last in passing, and as in a total offense, dead last. And watching this game more and more, and watching how things were going more and more, this Bears offense, let's just be 100% honest, and I said this last year, it needs a rebuild. It needs a rebuild. And to be 100% honest, coaching staff, the Bears need a new one offensively. Because when you watch certain points of this game, the Bears used a 6th offensive lineman, in which is Alex Bars, way too often. Now, of course, teams use a 6th offensive lineman. But I think the Bears rely more on a 6th offensive lineman more than any other offense in the NFL. The running game for the Bears was successful today. Khalil Herbert is a pretty good running back. Khalil Herbert played a pretty good game. The offensive line and run blocking was solid for majority of this game. And the Bears were able to do some things running the football. Now, the problem with the Bears is passing offense. You're using too much of max protection, which limits your routes, which limits your ability to have different receivers open. You don't really have that check down option because you're sitting in max protection too much because your offensive line does not hold up well. And I believe that affected Justin Fields today and his missing reads and taking off more than he's been taking off. His anticipation of the pressure. He's anticipating more of the pressure because, let's just face it, this Bears offensive line just doesn't hold up well. It just does not hold up well. It is not a very good pass protecting offensive line. Now, we've seen a couple of plays where Justin Fields was just running for his life. Some of them unwarranted, some of it warranted. But as a quarterback in your head, when you're taking hits, when you're anticipating pressure being there because the offensive line is not really going to be the best at protection, and you're anticipating them being in quicker, that affects your decision making. That affects your ability to sit in the pocket and read the defenses. When you're anticipating quicker pressure than you might be necessarily getting because your offensive line just does not hold up. And when you're using so much of max protection, when you're using so much of those heavy packages in your offense, because your offensive line has not been great, and you have to use more chips, you have to use more tight ends blocking, you have to use more of the running back staying in for protection, that limits your offense. It really limits your offense. You have some speed at the wide receiver position. You have Allen Robinson, who, let's just face it, is a very underrated wide receiver, and I think he's a little bit underutilized, but that's just my opinion. This Bears offense just will not have any bit of consistency. And you're dealing with a rookie quarterback who is still in the development stages of his career. So games like that are going to happen. Games like today, where Justin Fields played, are going to happen. They just are. There's no way around it. We all know he didn't play the greatest of games, but the key for this Bears offense is not to look solely at the quarterback position. You just can't. When you have a running game that is successful like the Bears running game, you need to find ways to capitalize on that in the passing game. And then on top of that, you have Jair Alexander, who is down. You have Kevin King, who is out. So that is Green Bay's top two corners out. And during the game, Darnell Savage suffered an injury. And on top of that, during the game, you don't have Will Redmond either, and Zadarius Smith has been out. You have to scheme ways to take advantage of a secondary that is banged up, and the Bears just didn't do so. They just couldn't do it. The offensive line is part of that. Justin Fields, him being in development and being a rookie, still a part of that as well. But the common denominator for the Bears not being successful offensively is coaching. It's just absolutely coaching. But that is all I have for today. The Bears lose to the Packers once again, and it's going to be another long week for us Bears fans, as we're going to hear it from the Packer Nation. Bears lose to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers again, 24-14 at home, and the Bears drop to 3-3 on the season. Make sure you guys leave this video a like. Comment your thoughts about the game below. What did you guys see? What did you guys take from this game? Leave all that in the comment section down below. And make sure you click that subscribe button to get more videos, and click the notification bell so we continue to grow on this channel. But I am a sad Bears fan today. I'm signing out. APW Sports. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day, and I'm just going to go over here and go cry in the car.